Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are going to another exciting and fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins. We're going to explore one of the most extraordinary discoveries in modern numismatics, the 1991 Lincoln 1-cent Liberty coin from the United States, which, believe it or not, has been valued by experts and collectors at an astonishing $210 million. Yes, you heard that right, a simple 1-cent coin, something most people might overlook or toss into a jar, could potentially be worth more than a private jet, a luxury yacht, or even a mansion. But what makes this humble 1991 penny so incredibly valuable? What kind of minting errors, striking anomalies, and production quirks could transform an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure? That's exactly what we're going to uncover today in full detail, exploring every aspect of its history, production, and the rare circumstances that have made it one of the most talked about coins in the world. The story of the 1991 Liberty 1-cent coin begins with its place in the long-running Lincoln cent series. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of symbolic imagery. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin initially bore the famous wheat ears on its reverse side, later replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959 to commemorate 150 years since Lincoln's birth. By 1991, the Lincoln cent had already seen decades of changes, from the metals used in its composition to subtle variations in its minting process, including different mint marks such as the D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mint mark for Philadelphia. The 1991 penny, on the surface, seems entirely ordinary, featuring Lincoln's right-facing profile on the obverse, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1991. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly, with United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and the denomination 1 cent below. But what lies beneath the surface literally is what makes some of these coins truly remarkable. By 1991, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies annually. The transition from primarily copper coins to mostly zinc cores coated with a thin layer of copper had occurred in 1982. This change made the coins lighter and cheaper to produce, but also opened the door for new types of minting errors. Sometimes, the copper plating would not adhere properly, resulting in exposed zinc surfaces or odd discolorations. Other times, incorrect planchets, the blank discs used to make coins, would accidentally be fed into the presses, producing coins of the wrong metal composition. And when such an error occurs in large-scale minting runs, it can lead to the creation of a handful of anomalies that become immensely valuable in the eyes of collectors. Now, imagine one of these 1991 Lincoln cents being struck on a copper planchet intended for an earlier year, or a foreign coin planchet accidentally mixed into the batch. That alone could make it rare enough to be worth thousands. But in some cases, errors go even deeper. For instance, a double die error could occur, where the die used to strike the coin was misaligned or struck twice, resulting in duplicated or shadowed text and images. In the 1991 Lincoln cent, reports from advanced collectors and coin graders suggest that a few extremely rare specimens exist where the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile appears slightly double the clear sign of a double die obverse or reverse error. Such a coin would already be worth a fortune in top mint condition. But there's even more to the story. Some of these coins also display unique die crack patterns, thin, raised lines caused by fractures in the die during striking. These cracks can sometimes create unusual shapes or even partial extra designs that collectors love because they're one of a kind. One legendary example of a 1991 Liberty 1-cent coin has been rumored to feature a die crack that forms what looks like an extra shadow around Lincoln's head, while others appear to have a floating roof effect on the Lincoln Memorial due to incomplete striking. The mint mark errors are another reason behind the coin's incredible worth. In 1991, Denver marked with a D, produced millions of pennies, but a handful of coins have been identified with what appears to be either a missing mint mark, a repunched mint mark, or a misaligned D. Repunched mint marks RPMs occur when the mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubling or shadowing effect on the letter. These are rare, but when found on coins from specific years such as 1991, they can elevate a coin's value to unbelievable levels. To put this into perspective, a normal 1991 D penny might only be worth a few cents, even in uncirculated condition. However, one with clear doubling on the date or lettering, combined with a unique mint mark error, can jump to thousands, tens of thousands, and in some extreme cases, when authenticated and graded at the highest level, even millions. The record-breaking $210 million valuation attributed to one of these coins is not simply due to collector enthusiasm but because of a combination of exceedingly rare characteristics: a double die obverse, repunched D mint mark, and an off-metal strike that experts believe occurred when a copper planchet intended for pre-1982 pennies was mistakenly used. This combination, plus its pristine condition, made it one of the most historically significant and visually distinct Lincoln cents ever discovered. Understanding why collectors and experts place such astronomical values on certain coins requires a look into the psychology and economics of rare coin collecting. The numismatic market is driven by rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance. A one-of-a-kind or extremely limited era coin becomes a tangible piece of minting history, something that can never be replicated again. Wealthy collectors often see such coins as investments, akin to owning fine art or rare jewels. And because the 1991 Liberty Cent era represents a transitional phase in U.S. minting technology, a time when precision was improving but still not fully automated, it captures a unique moment in history. The coin's extraordinary valuation of $210 million might sound almost mythical, but it stems from a combination of documented rarity, collector obsession, and historical intrigue. In recent decades, stories of ordinary coins selling for life-changing amounts have fueled global interest in checking pocket change. For example, earlier Lincoln cents like the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double-die penny have sold for hundreds of thousands. When a 1991 specimen with multiple simultaneous errors surfaced, authenticated by top-tier grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, the world of collectors went wild. Bidding wars between private investors and museums reportedly pushed the value into nine figures. Let's break down the kinds of minting mistakes that could have contributed to such a coin's extreme value. One possibility is a broad strike error, where the coin was struck without the collar die that normally shapes its rim, causing it to expand slightly beyond its intended diameter. Another is a clipped planchet, where a piece of the blank metal disc was cut off before striking, leaving the coin with a crescent-shaped missing section. There are also misaligned die errors, where the obverse and reverse designs don't perfectly align, creating a noticeable shift that collectors find visually intriguing. Perhaps the most intriguing possibility, however, is that a few of these 1991 Liberty cents were struck using leftover bronze planchets from earlier years. By 1991, the U.S. Mint was supposed to be striking all pennies on copper-plated zinc planchets. However, sometimes a leftover bronze blank from the 1970s or early 1980s could mistakenly end up in the press. These errors result in coins that weigh slightly more, about 3.1 grams instead of the normal 2.5 grams, and have a deeper, richer tone of red or brown due to the higher copper content. A few such transitional error coins have been found from other years, and each has fetched immense sums at auction. It's also possible that striking pressure and die deterioration played a role. A coin struck from a worn or improperly maintained die can have blurred or distorted features. My dears, now we go to another incredible and mind-blowing journey into the world of rare and extraordinary coins that have shocked collectors and historians alike. Today, we are going to uncover the fascinating and almost unbelievable story of the 2001 D. Lincoln 1-cent Liberty coin from the United States, a coin so rare, so full of mystery and minting anomalies, that experts have valued it at an astonishing $203 million. Yes, you heard that right, a simple 1-cent coin, something that could easily go unnoticed in your pocket or fall between the car seats, could actually be worth hundreds of millions of dollars because of a series of rare minting mistakes and extraordinary conditions that turned it from an everyday piece of change into one of the most talked about treasures in numismatic history. This is not just about a coin, this is about history, craftsmanship, human error, and the incredible unpredictability of minting that sometimes creates something truly priceless. So stay with me as we explore why the 2001 D. Liberty 1-cent coin is so valuable, what errors make it so unique, how these mistakes could have happened, and what signs you should look for if you think you might have one of these hidden gems sitting in your collection or change jar. The Lincoln Cent Series, one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history, began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, who had long been considered one of the most important and revered leaders in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the original Lincoln Cent featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse side and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, known as the wheat ear design. This design remained until 1959, when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo, marking 150 years since Lincoln's birth. By the time we reached the year 2001, the Lincoln Memorial design was still in use, and billions of pennies had been produced, mostly made from a zinc core coated with copper. At first glance, the 2001 D. Lincoln Cent looks like every other penny in circulation. It features Lincoln's familiar right-facing profile with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 2001 to the right. The small d beneath the date indicates that it was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the major U.S. mint facilities known for its mass production of coins. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands majestically in the center, with the words "United States of America" above it, "E pluribus unum" just below, and 1 cent along the bottom. But sometimes, what makes a coin valuable is not what's obvious, but what lies beneath the surface. Those tiny imperfections and rare minting mistakes that slip through quality control, unnoticed at first, but later become the very reason collectors are willing to pay unimaginable amounts to own them. And that is exactly what happened with the 2001 D. Liberty 1-cent coin. The United States Mint is known for its precision and strict quality standards, especially in the modern era. But even the most advanced machinery can make mistakes, and when it does, the results can be spectacular. In the case of the 2001 D. Lincoln Cent, a number of extremely rare minting errors have been identified that drastically separate these coins from ordinary ones. Some experts believe that a handful of these coins were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning instead of being made with the standard copper-plated zinc composition, they were accidentally struck on leftover copper or even foreign coin planchets. Others were found to have doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or dramatic striking errors that make them one of a kind. Imagine for a moment a coin struck twice by the die, resulting in slightly doubled lettering or numbers. The date might appear shadowed, the word Liberty could look duplicated, or Lincoln's facial features might seem slightly blurred or doubled. These double die errors are among the most sought after by collectors, and they can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure worth thousands, or even millions. The 2001 D penny, in particular, has been reported to have a very small number of known examples showing clear doubling on the date and the word Liberty, making it one of the most remarkable modern-day double die errors ever discovered. Then there are the mint mark errors, one of the main reasons why this coin is said to be worth an incredible $203 million. Mint mark errors occur when the small letter indicating where the coin was produced, in this case the D for Denver, is mispunched, misplaced, doubled, or missing entirely. In the early days, mint marks were manually punched onto each die, and this occasionally led to inconsistencies. By 2001, minting was fully automated, but occasional irregularities still occurred due to equipment calibration issues or die maintenance problems. Some 2001 D coins have been found with what appears to be a repunched mint mark where the D was struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a noticeable doubling effect under magnification. Others show partial mint marks or faint outlines of a misplaced D, possibly from die polishing or wear during production. Another extraordinary characteristic found on some 2001 D pennies is known as a broad strike error. This happens when the collar die, which holds the coin in place during striking, fails or is missing, allowing the metal to expand slightly outward beyond the normal rim. The result is a coin that appears slightly larger, thinner, or stretched, with design details that look soft or distorted. A broad-struck penny is rare in itself, but when combined with other errors like a double die or repunched mint mark, it becomes astronomically valuable. In one documented case, a 2001 D Lincoln cent was found to be an off-metal strike, meaning it was struck on a planchet intended for another coin, possibly a foreign denomination or an older composition. This specific specimen was analyzed by professional graders and determined to have the color and weight closer to the pre-1982 bronze pennies, suggesting that a leftover copper planchet may have accidentally been used in 2001. The rarity of such an occurrence is almost beyond comprehension. When you combine all these factors, the double die, the mint mark error, the off-metal strike, and the pristine condition, you end up with a coin so unique that no other exactly like it exists anywhere in the world. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness equals value. The $203 million valuation attached to this coin might sound exaggerated, but when you consider how coin values are driven by scarcity, demand, condition, and historical significance, it begins to make sense. Wealthy collectors and investors are willing to pay staggering sums for the privilege of owning something that literally no one else has, a coin that tells a story of human error, technological imperfection, and historical evolution. Let's take a closer look at how these minting errors could have occurred. During the coin production process, blanks known as planchets are fed into high-speed presses where dies strike the designs onto both sides. Each die pair can produce hundreds of thousands of coins before needing replacement. But if the dies are misaligned, cracked, or reused improperly, they can produce flawed coins. In some instances, a previous design or mint mark may not have been fully polished off, leading to a repunched or shadowed mark. Similarly, if the die shifts slightly between strikes, a double image appears. The speed and force involved in minting makes such mistakes difficult to detect immediately, especially when billions of coins are being struck each year. The Denver Mint, where the 2001 D coin originated, produced over 6 billion pennies that year. The idea that only a handful out of billions could possess these remarkable errors underscores just how rare they are. Even more astonishing is that one of these coins managed to survive in nearly perfect condition. Most coins enter circulation, suffering scratches, dings, and wear that greatly reduced their collectible value. But this particular 2001 D error cent was reportedly discovered in uncirculated condition, showing full mint luster and crisp details, something almost unheard of for an error coin that wasn't intentionally set aside at the mint. What makes the 2001 D penny's story even more compelling is its discovery. According to collector circles, one of the known specimens was found by an individual who was simply searching through coin rolls from a local bank. The finder noticed a strange color and slightly heavier feel to the coin. Upon inspection under magnification, faint doubling was visible on the date, and the D mint mark appeared thicker and slightly shifted. Now at the last, my dear viewers, thank you so much for joining today. If you love learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the mysterious world of valuable cents that could change your life, then you're in the right place. We're going to dive deep into the story of one of the most fascinating coins ever discussed among collectors, the 2014 1-cent Liberty coin from the United States, a coin that's said to have a staggering estimated worth of up to $170 million. That's right, a simple penny, normally worth just 1 cent, could be valued at millions because of its unique errors, minting mistakes, and rare variations that make it incredibly desirable to collectors and numismatists around the world. Now, you might be thinking, how can a coin made in 2014, which isn't even that old, possibly be worth that much? After all, the US Mint produces billions of pennies every year. They're in everyone's pockets, wallets, and jars at home. But what makes this one so special? What kind of error or minting variation could transform a coin's value from 1 cent to over $170 million? The answer lies in a fascinating combination of rarity, error types, mint mark variations, historical context, and collector obsession that has turned an ordinary-looking 2014 penny into an extraordinary piece of numismatic legend. Let's start by stepping back in time for a moment to understand the foundation of what makes a 2014 penny interesting in the first place. By 2014, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for more than a century. Originally introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it became the first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person. The obverse design, showing Lincoln's right-facing bust, was created by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse originally displayed 2 wheat ears, earning the early versions the nickname Wheat Penny. Over the years, the penny's design changed multiple times. In 1959, the wheat design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial reverse to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. Then, in 2009, for the coin's 100th anniversary, a special set of designs was released showing scenes from Lincoln's life. From 2010 onward, the coin featured a shield reverse, the Union shield, symbolizing Lincoln's role in preserving the United States as one nation. By 2014, the coin we know as the Lincoln Shield cent was the standard design used across the country. But here's where it gets intriguing. The 2014 Lincoln penny wasn't just another coin in the long line of millions produced. Some extremely rare versions from that year are believed to have left the mint with significant and valuable errors, and these are the coins that have made headlines and captured the imagination of collectors. Now, let's explore the kinds of mint errors that can make a coin like the 2014 1 cent so valuable. Mint errors occur during the production process, and depending on the nature of the mistake, some can turn a coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible. These can include double strikes, off-center strikes, planchet errors, die cracks, broad strikes, missing letters, wrong planchet types, and even incorrect mint marks. The most famous examples of valuable pennies in history often have these characteristics. For instance, the 1943 copper penny is one of the most sought-after coins in U.S. history because it was mistakenly struck on a copper planchet during the year the mint switched to zinc-coated steel. That tiny composition mistake created a multi-million-dollar coin. Similarly, the 1955 double-die penny became famous for its dramatic doubling of the date and letters on the obverse, and examples have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. So, when we apply that kind of history to the 2014 1-cent Liberty coin, we begin to understand how minting errors, if extreme or unique enough, could cause its value to skyrocket into the hundreds of millions. In the case of the 2014 Liberty penny, collectors and numismatic experts have reported and speculated about several categories of errors that could be responsible for its incredible value. One of the most discussed is the wrong planchet error, where a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. For example, imagine a 2014 1-cent coin accidentally being struck on a dime planchet, or even on a foreign coin blank. This kind of mistake would result in the coin being lighter or smaller than a regular cent, and its composition could be drastically different, instantly turning it into an ultra-rare piece. Another possibility involves doubled dies. A doubled die error happens when the design on the die itself is engraved twice at slightly different angles or positions, creating a doubling effect on the coin's image or text. If a 2014 penny exhibits noticeable doubling in the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date 2014, collectors would go wild. The sharper and clearer the doubling, the higher the potential value. But perhaps the most astonishing aspect lies in the mint mark. Mint marks indicate where the coin was produced, for example, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia, though Philadelphia pennies typically lack a mark. A rare and valuable coin could feature a misplaced, missing, or even incorrect mint mark, such as a D mint mark from Denver that was accidentally stamped in the wrong position or was partially filled, causing it to appear distorted. Imagine a 2014 Lincoln penny that shows evidence of being struck with a Denver mint mark but also bears faint traces of a San Francisco S underneath. That kind of error would not only be visually fascinating but also historically significant, indicating a cross-mint die mix-up, which is virtually unheard of in modern minting. Such a coin would be priceless, not only because of its error but also because it defies the standard procedures of the U.S. Mint, which maintains extremely tight quality control today. Collectors also talk about transitional errors, coins struck using the wrong metal composition during a change in minting standards. While 2014 was not a year of transition in the penny's composition, since all pennies from 1982 onward were made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, it's not impossible that a leftover blank from a different production period could have been accidentally used. If even one 2014 penny was struck on a solid copper planchet instead of the standard zinc one, that coin could be worth millions. Now, let's take a moment to think about why collectors are so fascinated by these coins. Part of it is the thrill of the hunt. There's something mesmerizing about the idea that you could find a life-changing treasure hiding in your pocket change, a coin jar, or an old collection you inherited from a relative. The allure of turning a 1-cent piece into a multimillion-dollar discovery keeps the coin collecting community alive and passionate. Over time, certain 2014 pennies have been reported as having die cracks, where the metal of the die used to strike the coin starts to fracture, leaving raised lines or patterns across the coin's surface. In some cases, these cracks resemble lightning bolts, veins, or even unique shapes that collectors nickname according to their appearance, such as the lightning strike Lincoln or cracked shield varieties. While minor die cracks are common and often worth only a small premium, a major or dramatic crack that creates a distinct, eye-catching feature can command a high price. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin design is not properly aligned with the planchet. A coin that's struck significantly off-center, say 40% or more, but still shows the full date and mint mark, is considered rare and desirable. A 2014 penny with an off-center strike and a clear D for Denver could easily attract thousands or even millions in collector bidding, especially if it's in pristine condition. Some of the most legendary coins achieve astronomical values not just because of their rarity, but because they become part of numismatic folklore, stories of coins that were never meant to exist, yet somehow slip through the mint's strict systems. When one of these is discovered, the coin world goes into a frenzy. Private collectors, museums, and even investors compete to own it, driving the price up to unimaginable heights. The 2014 1-cent Liberty coin, rumored to be worth $170 million, fits perfectly into this pattern. The exact nature of the errors on the specific specimen said to be worth that much remains shrouded in mystery, which only adds to its mystique. Some say it shows a spectacular multiple strike error, where the coin was struck several times without being ejected properly, resulting in overlapping images of Lincoln's face.